Queen Elizabeth II's tenure as head of state had been marked with major political events. The transition from empire to Commonwealth, the end of the Cold War, and the UK's entry into the European Union and exit into the European Union. Her reign spanned 15 prime ministers, starting with Winston Churchill to now Liz Truss. Take a look.
At my coronation, I shall dedicate myself anew to your service. But I want to ask you all, whatever your religion may be, to pray for me on that day. To pray that God may give me wisdom and strength to carry out the solemn promises I shall be making, and that I may faithfully serve Him and you all the days of my life.
It was a somber morning on the 6th of February 1952, when 25-year-old Elizabeth Windsor acceded to the throne. That momentous day was full of sorrow for the young monarch, who had just lost her father. A year later, on the 2nd of June 1953, Elizabeth was crowned the head of state of the UK and 15 other Commonwealth realms, and thus began her royal journey. Born on the 21st of April 1926, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary was the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York. Her father, King George VI, ascended the throne 10 years after her birth, and Elizabeth dedicated her life in service to the Commonwealth 11 years later. In November 1947, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary married her sweetheart, Prince Philip Mountbatten. The royal couple had 4 children: the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, and the Earl of Wessex, Prince Edward. The Queen acceded to the throne at a time when tea was still carefully being rationed. It was shortly after the economically devastating World War II. Britain soon found a comfortable ground. The economy grew. So did the royal family. The Queen witnessed the marriage of all her children, the birth of 8 grandchildren and 12 great-grandchildren. Royal successes, royal troubles, and royally sensationalized splits, and the loss of members of the royal family. She saw it all. There is a famous saying, the prime ministers come and go, but the Queen stays the same. Queen Elizabeth II is the UK's longest reigning monarch. She saw 15 prime ministers under her reign, from confidant Winston Churchill to the latest leader of her government, Liz Truss. In a world where the royals are criticized for being stuck in its past glory, Queen Elizabeth was viewed as an early modernizer of the monarchy.
25 years ago,
in 1970, she televised a special program with the BBC, based on their everyday lives.
the subtle corruption of the city.
It was the first time the British public had a window into what royal domestic life looked like. As the years went by, royal dramas began to envelop the Buckingham Palace, and it peaked in 1992, the Annus Horribilis, the year when the House of Windsor Castle went up in flames. But the monarchy faced one of its toughest tests in 1997, when Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris. The Queen's initial silence didn't help, but the Queen's admiration of Diana in her address to the nation later proved to be the saving grace.
She was an exceptional and gifted human being.
In the year 2002, the Queen completed 50 years in power. It called for celebration, for joy. But once again, Elizabeth was grieving the death of her dear ones. The Queen lost her sister in February 2002, followed by the death of her mother a month later. As the years went by, the Queen's choices, her favorites, became a matter of public interest. From the Queen's favorite cake to her especially bred dogs, the Queen and the royal family have been regularly featured in the tabloids. The Queen's reign continued, and so did the troubles and increased scrutiny of the royal family. Prince Andrew, believed by many to be her favorite child, faced allegations of sexual assault and has retreated to the background in recent years. Then came Prince Harry's decision to quit royal duties and move to California with his wife Meghan. It was the beginning of a bitter feud within the House of Windsor. The biggest personal blow came last year when the Queen bid goodbye to her husband, Prince Philip. Around that time, the Queen's health also became a cause of concern. In October last year, the Queen had to spend the night at a London hospital, which led to her not being able to attend the annual Remembrance Sunday service on the 14th of November. She has slowly been retreating from the public eye, with heir to the throne, Prince Charles, filling in for the Crown at major events.
My lords and members of the House of Commons.
On the 6th of February this year, the Queen celebrated her Platinum Jubilee. There were mega shows and rallies planned around the big day. London was joyous. Britain was celebrating their Queen. Queen Elizabeth, also known as Lilibet by her doting family, was never big on splendor. She also was a stern monarch when it came to business. She took a serious and informed interest in government business.
Things can change for the better.
Aside from the traditional and ceremonial duties, the Queen spent her final days at her favorite royal residence, the Balmoral Castle. With her passing, it is truly the end of an era. And the big question now is on the survival of the British monarchy. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.